गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरु साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः. We are in Ishavasya Upanishad and we are looking at the 6th verse, 7th verse towards the end. And what was that? We are looking at he who has experienced the self, what is his state like? And here the two verses, yastu sarvani bhutani atmanyevanupashyati sarvabhuteshu chatmanam tato na vijugupsate, and that was the 6th. And the 7th, yasmin sarvani bhutani atmaiva bhut vijanatah tatra ko moha ko shokah ekatvam anupashyatah. For such a person who is established in the self, in the Atma, tatra ko, how can there be any moha and shok? Moha is with regards to pulling the present into the future, and shok is with reference to pulling the past into the present. लगे रहो मुन्ना भाई, उसके बाद और क्या? And we are caught up in that. But he who has woken up, is he disturbed by the dreams or the dream world? No. Same way, he who is woken up to his essential nature, the Atma Tattva, Atmanyevanupashyati, or Atma, and two words, Atmanyevanupashyati, he who is seeing the self as the self, and the other, Atmaiva Bhut Vijanatah, that he who recognizes that that he is the immanent in and through the entire creation. And in this manner, then how can for him there be any shoka and moha, or moha and shoka? Ekatvam anupashyata. Wherever he sees only one. Wherever you see in your body, you see yourself only, in spite of all the various limbs. You see yourself only. Imagine that wherever you look around, there you are. So there is nothing other than you. And towards this, the last paragraph we were doing of this 7th verse, and it says, ko moha ko shakah iti shoka moha yoho avidya karya yoho akshepena asambhava pradarsanat sakaranasya sansarasya atyantam eva uchchedah pradarshitah bhavati. And towards this, he said towards the end that what is moha and what is shoka? In this manner, see, the avidya, it says avidya karya yoho akshepena. So shoka moha are effects of avidya. And what is avidya? Ignorance. So the effect, the ignorance is the cause, and shoka and moha is the effect. So when there is no shoka moha, vidya is also gone, because how do we establish cause? How do you establish cause? Have you thought? We have said it before, but do you remember?
By the effect.
Huh?
By the effect.
Yeah.
From the effect.
From the effect we determine the cause, isn't it? From the effect we determine the cause. From the ornaments we determine the gold. This is a very gross example. From the wave and oceans, from the wave we determine there is an ocean. Where are the waves? In the ocean. From the air, fire, water, earth, what is the where are they existing? They are existing in space. Have you seen space? No. Go further. Where are the five elements? Where are the five senses? Where is all the thoughts coming up? Oh, they are coming in the mind. Do you see the mind? No. You know thoughts are coming and going, but you have not seen the mind. So, because there are thoughts, we say there must be a mind. See? So, how do we know that from shoka moha, from delusion and sorrow and misery, what did we deduce? Oh, these are the effects, and ignorance. What is ignorance? Incomplete knowledge of the self is ignorance. So that resulted in body identification. With body identification, the doership began. With doership, the shoka came. Likes and dislikes, and then misery and sorrow. See? And this person, he who is established in that one without a second experience, less experience in himself. Please put the audio off. In one without a second experience, less experience, for such a person, there is no incomplete knowledge. Therefore, there is no desire. Therefore, there is no identification. Therefore, there is no karma. Therefore, there is no likes and dislikes. Therefore, there is no sorrow. See how the whole thing, it's like a domino effect. So, we like stupid fools, we keep trying to sort out the sorrows and blame every damn person in this world, except coming to this realization that let's get to the bottom of it and find out. And the moment you go to the bottom of it, you find there is no joy, no sorrow, and there is no delusion. That is the smart way of living. And in this way, because there is absence of shoka and moha, delusion and sorrow, therefore avidya, the cause itself, is denied. It cannot express. Cause itself is gone away. Having come to establish in the self as the self, that very moment complete knowledge takes place. And what is ignorance? Incomplete knowledge. So incomplete knowledge is over. There is no chance for incomplete knowledge to express. And how do you know incomplete knowledge is there? The moment you are identified with the body, understand incomplete knowledge is expressing. The moment desire-oriented lifestyle is lived, understand incomplete knowledge is expressing. There you go. So in this manner, so this world is nothing but shoka and moha. So having established, not if avidya is gone, along with avidya the shoka moha is gone. And where is shoka moha possible? In the samsar. Samsar is also gone. Sansarasya atyantam eva uchchedah pradarshito bhavati. Everything vanishes. In such a state the masters live. So ko moha ko shokah. So the word said, yasmin sarvani bhutani atmaiva atmaiva bhut vijanatah tatra ko moha ko shokah ekatvam anupashyatah. So this verse we saw in depth through the Shankaracharya Bhashya, that when the wise one is established in the Atma, at that very moment, without any delay, the entire is for him the entire is that one Atma alone, and therefore can there be any delusion and sorrow for such a person? No, it is not possible. Now, what is this Atma in which he got established? Next question. What is this Atma in which he got established? You are telling he got established. You talked about Ishavasya, Ishvara, he is everything. You are talking about that these two verses, that he Atmaiva Anupashyati and Atmaiva Bhut Vijanatah. What is this Atma you are talking about? Till now you never talked about it. What is it? So here it is told, Yaha ayam iti taihi mantraihi ukta atma sasvena rupena kim lakshana iti aha ayam mantraha. So that Atma which was explained in the previous mantra, what is this Atma like? That is going to be told now. You can say a definition, sort of. There is no definition possible, but let's see what the mantra says. And what does it say? Saparyagat shukramakayam avranam, Saparyagat shukramakayam avranam, Asna viragang shuddham apapa vidham, Asna viragang shuddham apapa vidham, Kavirmanishi paribhu swayambhu, Kavirmanishi paribhu swayambhu, Yatha tathyata orthan Vedadat shashvatibhya samabhyaha, Yatha tatha, yeah, okay, we'll just chant the way it is given. Yatha tathyatorthan Vedadat shashvatibhya samabhyaha. This Atma, what is it? It is Paryagat, it is all pervasive. Shukram, Shukram is, it is of the nature of illumination, therefore pure. Then Akayam, without a body. And then Avranam, it is without any parts. And then Asnaviram, Asnaviragam means that which does not have any veins and arteries and muscles and bone marrow, etc. And then what it is, if it is not all this, it is Nirmala, it is pure. Then Apapahata, it is sinless. Then Sarvadrashta, Sarva, sorry, what is the word here? Apapa Vidham, we saw that it is sinless. Then Kavihi is he who knows everything. Now, what is it? When we see the commentary, we will see. Kavi is he who knows the past and the present and the future. Then what is next? Manishi. Manishi is who is all knowing. Then Paribhu. Paribhu is the bestest of the best. And Swayambhu. Swayambhu means that which is self-established, self-asserted, without any support. See, this is, we are talking about you. We are talking about the Atma. Don't collect information. We are talking about the self that we are. This is our true nature. Until we have not realized this, it is incomplete knowledge. And the result of incomplete knowledge, shoka moha. And it is this Atma which is self-established, and it has given the power, it has given the jobs to various prajapatis, or the managers of this universe, of this creation, to do their particular jobs. So Yamraj, he is the god of death. Brahma, he is the god of creation. Vishnu is the god of maintenance. Shiva is the god of dissolution. Indra is the god of mind and activity. And this way, all job positions he has given to these fellows. And for what has he given them? So that they can give you according to your karma. As long as you are not established in the self, you think you are the doer. If you are the doer, then there will be some result. What result you will get? That all these fellows, they decide. According to your attitude, according to your intention, according to your purity, according to your action, according to your desire. And then, so now let's see what each word of this verse signifies. It says in the commentary by Shankaracharya, Sa yatha ukta atma paryagat pari samantad agadagatvan akashavad vyapi iti arthaha. So here he says, this Atma which was spoken of and it was described before, it was described in the language of contradiction. This Atma, Paryagat Pari. Paryagat Pari means what? Pari means everywhere. Paryagat means, here he says, Paryagat Agada Gatavan. Gatavan means who is all pervading. Or it can, how could I say? Yeah, all pervading. And how is he all pervading? Like Akashavad Vyapi iti arthaha. Just as space is all pervasive, in and through, outside, inside, up, down, back, front, every nook and corner. In fact, there is no place where space is not in this creation. Without space, this creation cannot exist. Exactly in the same manner, this Atma, this self, it is Paryagat Pari, it is everywhere. And why are these words used? Why are these these words like Paryagat Pari, Shukram, Apapam, Asnaviram, Avranam, akayam, etc. Why are they used? They are used only to decondition our mind. Truth is self existing. No words can describe it completely. So we are not making these statements to prove that there is a truth, that there is the self. Self is your essential nature, and you are having doubt about it. So this commentary that is coming, or these Upanishads which are there, they are not meant for the Atma. They are meant for the one who is incomplete in his knowledge about himself. To him this instruction, to him these verses. And what is being told? That you, my friend, are essentially the Atma, and this Atma is Sarva Vyapi. It is all everywhere, homogeneously present everywhere. Let's put it that way. Sarva Vyapi. Akashavat Vyapi iti artaha. Then Shukram Shuddham Jyotisham Deeptiman iti artaha. Now the next word was Shukram. Shukram means, here the word is Shuddham. It means pure. What does pure mean? Pure is that which is self-illumined, which is of the nature of illumination. Well, not self, you can say self-illuminate, but here it says Jyotishma Deeptiman. It is of the nature of light. So this self is of the nature of light, which means there is no possibility of darkness ever possible. So in this self, the darkness of the sleep is not possible. Doubt is not possible. Suspicion is not possible. Duality is not possible. And duality leads to multiplicity. Identification is not possible. Why? It is of the nature of light. Just like in the sun, which is of nature of light, the coming and going of day and night is absent in the sun. In the sun, and from the point of view of the sun, whichever way you put it. First example. Second example, the sunrise and sunset. The coming of sunrise and the going away of the sun, the sunset, both are also absent in the sun, isn't it? What do we say? Oh, the sun is not there outside. Why? It is covered by the clouds. Now it is night, sun is not there. Very simply we say that. Have you ever said, I am not there? See? So, it is of the nature Shukram, Shuddham, Jyotishman, Deeptiman. So, adjectives were given to the word Shukram. So, it has to be understood as that which is of the nature of light. Another way to put, of the nature of light, self-revealing, self-illumined, and that is light. It doesn't need any other source to illuminate itself. Moon requires someone else's light to illuminate itself. Sun does not require. Sun is illumined by our eyes. Eyes are illumined by our mind. Mind is illumined by the intellect. Intellect is illumined by the Atma, by the self. Who illumines the self? Nobody, it is self-illumined. It is of the nature of light. All the other intellect, mind, body, eyes, they all require. They are borrowing light from someone else at the back. But not so the Atma. Therefore, moon may be attached to the sun for its light, but the sun or the Atma, the self, is not attached to anyone. To anyone. Why? Because it is self-established, self-illumined, self-revealing. Therefore, this self, this Atma, is free of all limitations. Then, excuse me. Then it says, Akayam ashariro linga sharira varjita iti arthaha. Now the next word they are taken is Akayam. Akayam, ashariri. Ashariraha linga sharira varjita iti arthaha. So, Kaya means what? Body. And here it says, that which cannot, Akayam, body can be cut, your limbs can be cut, you can discard the gross body, you can stop breathing and say, oh, I conquered the breath, go underground in hibernation, go into samadhi, you are boss of the mind, of the thoughts. So all these are parts of the body. Just as physical body can be cut, you can remove desires from your mind, you can remove thoughts from your mind, you can change your convictions, but you cannot change the self, you cannot cut the self. So it is ashariri. Ashariri, it is without a body, it is without any contour, it is without any shape, it is without any parts. Ashariri. And ashariri, akayam, it is free from the limitations. Then next word is avranam akshatam. Akshatam. Here it says, understand avranam means as akshatam. And what does that akshatam mean? That which cannot be divided into pieces. Kshata is to divide. Akshata, that which cannot be divided. So when we go to the temple, we throw the akshata, colored pieces, grains of rice. Actually it is but there is akshata. Here it is akshata. So kshata, broken, divided. Akshata, unbroken, undivided. So that is the self. How do we divide ourselves? I am the father, I am the brother, I am the son, I am the husband. And we keep dividing. I am the gross body, I am the subtle body, I am the causal body. I am the waker, I am the dreamer, I am the sleeper. We are dividing. And who are you? The undivided self, the unbroken self, having a continuous homogeneous experience of the self all the time, without a full stop or a comma. Continuous. But because of incomplete knowledge, we choose to think of the parts, we get attached to the parts and suffer thereafter. So here, avranam akshatam asnaviram. सुनते नहीं लोग. अस्नाविरम स्नावाहा शिरा यस्मिन् न विद्यन्त iti asnaviram. Asnaviram means that which is snava. What is that? Well, that which is free of all veins, arteries, etc., bone marrow, muscle, tissues, etc. And by these, here it is also told that in the previous verse it was told, where it was told, with this verse, with avranam, it is told that sthula sharira avranam snaviram iti iti abhyam sthula sharira pratishedaha. So gross body is rejected with with the words avranam and asnaviram. These two with these two words, with these two nouns, the gross body, sthula deha, this is rejected. With the first two words, paryagat and shukram and akayam, these three words, the what you call, the linga sharira, the subtle body was rejected. And now continuing, that's what he is saying here now. Shuddham nirmala avidyamala rahitam iti karana sharira pratishedaha. So, whereas the words shuddha and shuddha and nirmala avidyamala. So the dirt of avidya was removed, and this dirt of avidya is karana sharira, the causal body. That causal body is removed with these two words. Apapa viddam dharma adharmadi papa varjitam. And with the word apapa, remember, saparyagat shukram akayam avranam asnaviram shuddham apapa viddham. So now we are coming to in the first line, the last word, apapa viddham. What is to be understood? That it is that where dharma and adharma both are absent. Oh my God, I am lost in dharma and adharma. I am lost in duty. I am lost in doing everything except accepting that I am the self with this nature which is given. I am lost in everything else. And as long as you are not focused on this self as the self, till then, dharma, dharma, the moment you get identified with the body, whether it is gross, causal or, gross, subtle or causal, automatically dharma, dharma begin for you. To do or not to do begins for you. Ownership begins for you. So the word Shuddha and Nirmal, understand Shuddha as the Nirmal, and it removes the causal body Avidyamala or the Karana Sharira. Karana Sharira is the causal body. And then Apapa Viddham Dharma Dharma Adi Papa Varjitam. And what we told you was that this the idea of sin and merit and dharma and adharma, all these are only for the doer. And who is the doer? Understand, this is the main thing here. And who is the doer? Doer is with incomplete knowledge. Just, I think few minutes ago I told you, incomplete knowledge about the self means the knowledge of the self corrupted with something, with otherness, expresses as body identification. With body identification comes the doership, karta bhokta. The doership, when he does, he will get results. Those results he every karta, karya, when he is taking ownership, it becomes deed. And every deed will give a result. Every result he will divide it into, I like this result, I don't like. You may not speak it, but in your mind it is beneficial or it is not beneficial, it is conducive or it is not conducive, is what is like and dislike. And based upon that, what you like or what you dislike, joy and sorrow is what you get. So when Karana Sharir is when we recognize ourselves where there is no cause and effect, self is that which can never commit any sin, which can never accrue any merit. Now, how much prayers you will do to the gods to give you merit? The only reason you pray to gods to accrue, to collect a bank balance of merit, is because you are not accepting yourself as the pristine self, the immaculate self, which is self-illumined, which is self-revealing, which is self-knowing, which is complete, which is homogeneously present everywhere. This uniqueness of every human being, of every being, is like a person. I've given this example many times. When you have one shoe of smaller size on your foot, how will be the funny walk that you will have? Same way, this infinite is expressing through this finite shoe. How funny? That is the uniqueness. Everyone is funny. Everyone is unique. We have to get out of this. Now, what blessings you will ask for God from gods? I'm not saying that you should not do it if you want to. Kurvanneveha karmani, jiji vishet shatagam samaha. Keep doing, no problem. But understand, this is where we have to get to. And as long as you keep insisting that I have to perform karma, till then one is far away, far away from the self. So how can I not work? We are not saying stop work. We are not saying stop activity. Let activity go on. But recognize that you are the one. Then you are not dependent on the activity, whether it happens or it doesn't happen. If sleep doesn't happen, we go and get the pills. If we get up late, we get the pills. We become afraid. What will the boss say? We are afraid we have missed the train. We live in fear. Atma does not live in fear. Atma does not live in fear. Continuing, Shukram ityadini vachansi pulingatvena parineyani. So he says this word Shukram, it is actually neuter gender, but it has to be used as masculine. And so also all other words have to be used as masculine, in the masculine way. And why they have to be used in masculine? Because the first word, saparyagat, it was used in masculine, so all others also have to be used in masculine. Sahaparyagad iti upakramya kavir manishi ityadinam pulingatvena upasamharat. And So in this way, all these words, Kavir, Manishi, Paribhu, Swayambhu, and others, all of them have to be taken as the masculine and not mm, not as anything else. Now we come to the, so that was a little bit of grammar part which Shankaracharya every now and then he puts in. Now we come to the third paragraph. Kavihi Krantadarshi Sarvadruk. Now the word Kavi is being explained, and what is Kavi? He is understand it as Krantadarshi Sarvadruk. Sarvadruk, Druk means Drushya. Sarva means all. He sees all. What is that? Krantadarshi. Kranta also means past. But here in this context we can take it as, because it said Sarvadruk, so we can take it as this self is that who knows the past, present, future of everything. Like you know the past and present you are observing about your children. You know the past also. You are seeing the present also. But you don't know the future. What is the past, present, future of all the waves? You know. You can answer. Very quickly you can say, past, present, and future of all the waves is water. What is the past, present, future of all the oceans? Water. What is the past, present, future of all the ornaments? Gold. What is the past, present, future of Atma? There is no past, present, future of Atma. Past, present, future is only of that Mithya Vastu, not of the original. Past, present, future is not of the water. Past, present, future is of the wave or the ocean. Past, present, future is not of the Atma, but past, present, future is of the Jivatma or of the bodies. So, and you are wise. How? Do you know your past? Yes, I was born. Do you know your present? Yes, I am alive right now. You know your future? Yeah, I will die one day. You know, those are the three most important past, present, future that you should know. So you all know, you are Karantadarshi. Then if you know that one day you are going to, this body is going to die, why not focus on the self? But we are more focused on the death because of our objectification. So here, 1 minute. So here, Bhagwan Shankaracharya, he is saying by the word Krantadarshi, he who knows all the past, present and future, just as water knows all the past, present and future of all the waves. Then next word is, then it says, नान्यतोस्ति द्रष्टा बृहदारण्यक उपनिषद इत्यादि श्रुतेः. They say that there is no other seer other than this Atma. If there is no other seer other than Atma, then what about Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, Ashwini Kumar, Surya Devta, Chandra Devta, and Pavana Kumar, and this and that? No. All of them are included in this. Remember in the previous, before it will be told afterwards. The last part of this verse will tell that. So this Atma, this self, is the true seer. Don't appropriate the, the status of seer to anything other than Atma. So says Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. Now next word, Manishi Manasa Ishita Sarvajna Ishvara iti artaha. The Manishi here is told, the one who is controller of the mind. Manishi Manasa Ishita. Ishita is the power to control, to will, to have power over. And who is here? It says Sarvajna Ishvara iti artaha. Who controls the whole mind? The mind, the Ishvara, here it says. Then who is this Atma? Atma and Ishvara are not separate. They are one and the same. Atma is recognized within, Ishvara is recognized without. Brahman. And therefore, the Manishi is the one who is controller of the mind. And understand that this mind and intellect are merely functional difference. Just you remember Antakaran Chatushtaya, Mana, Buddhi, Chitta, Ahankar. All this is one mind only. Just like you are one woman. Then what is wife, mother, daughter, sister? Functional differences of a woman, or functional expressions of a woman. But woman is one in spite of those four. And all those four are dependent on the woman. Same way, one mind, when it is having thoughts, it is called mind. When it is decisive, it is called intellect. When the thought is of memory, it is called chitta. And the one who owns all these three is called the ahankar. Keeps it together. Okay? So just as we see that the senses are controlled by the mind, isn't it? Who is controlling the mind? Mind is erratic, without any idea what to do. Intellect gives the direction to the thoughts. So intellect is the controller of the mind. And who is the Atma? Atma is the controller of the intellect. Without the Atma, intellect cannot function. Without the intellect, mind cannot function. Without the mind, senses cannot function. Without the senses, there is no world. Welcome to yourself. Go back. See? Understand the principle that is being laid out here. We are not here to validate the existence of the world. Upanishads have only one purpose: to establish that you are essentially the infinite one. And on that infinite one, the world. What is the world? Waking, dream, deep sleep and samadhi. This world, with all its tentacles, in each waking, so much is going on in the waking. This drama is also going on. In dream also some drama is going on. Story is getting enacted. And there is absence in. So these three worlds are merely an imagination. Merely, I can't use the word imagination, superimposition on that one reality that we essentially are. And And Upanishad's purpose is that you come to recognize that within this life while living. There is no other composition like this one, like the Upanishads, which wants you to realize while living. It is the only scripture which says, give us, we are useless to you after you have come to know the self. We cannot tell you how you have to behave, how you have to act, how you have to not act, how you have to, what is your disposition. We can give some idea, but scriptures are saying we are because the self is, not the other way. Self is not there because scriptures are saying there is self. No. Self is self-existing. It doesn't require a proof of anything or anyone. But for individual sake, a seeker's sake, we say that your experiences of realization or of your conclusions of life, they must mirror the conclusions of the scriptures. Because we live a life of me versus you, I want this, or desire oriented activity. But scriptures are here, they don't want anything from you except your highest good. Except your highest good. परिभूः सर्वेषां पर्युपरि bhavati iti paribhuhu. What is Bhuru? Paribhu means that which is higher than everything or everyone. Higher means it is superior to everything and everyone. What is superior? It is superior to the 5 sheaths. It is superior to waking dream, sleep, samadhi. It is superior to all gods. That is this Atma. There is nothing more superior than Atma. Oh, what about Ishvara? Get to Atma first, then we'll talk about Ishvara. You are saying there is Ishvara only because you are looking at the world. Once you come to Atma and you understand, it's sarva vyapi, it's all pervasive, homogeneously. So Paribhu, one which is superior to everything, that it is not other than the reality itself. It is the reality, and therefore there is then the next word says Swayambhu Swayameva Bhavati iti. Swayambhu, it is self-established, it's self-asserted, it's self-existing. Swayameva Bhavati, it is Swayam Eva, it's existing by itself. You came into existence because of your parents, the body. See? But there is no cause for this self that we are. We are self-existing. Swayameva. Bhavati, Bhavati means to exist. It self-exists. There is no cause for it. Self is not a result of logic. Self is not a result of studying scriptures. Self is not a result of inference. Self is not a concept. Self is self-existing. Swayambhu Swayameva Bhavati iti. Yesham upari bhavati yah च उपरि भवति स सर्व स्वयमेव भवति इति स्वयंभूः. He says, I already told that which is above everything, superior to everything, higher than everything, that alone is self-existing, and therefore that which is self-existing is called Swayambhu. Another name for Shambhu. Our Lord Shiva is Swayambhu. Jyotirlingas, all the 12 Jyotirlingas, they are all Swayambhu Jyotirlingas, isn't it? Nobody carved them out. They were discovered just the way they are. Swayambhu. But those are in temples. Here we are talking about the Atma. The moment you recognize you are the Swayambhu, you will realize, then no need to go to Kailash. Then no need to go to Jyotirlingas. Why? Without going anywhere. Remember? Tanay jati, tade jati, tannay jati, tad dure tad vantike. Without moving, I am everywhere. So once I recognize I am Swayambhu, that very moment, as the Atma, that very moment I am in all the Jyotirlingas also. All the Jyotirlingas are in me. Where will you go now? Then why will you go? For time pass. Something will happen. If you go, go. If you don't go, don't go. There is no regret if you don't go. See, when we are in the world, when we are in waking, dream, sleep, there is a sequence, isn't it? Every day there is waking, dream, sleep, waking, dream, sleep, waking, dream, sleep. Same way, gross body, subtle body, causal body. Or Pranmaya Kosh, Annamaya Kosh, Manomaya Kosh, Vijnanmaya Kosh, Anandmaya Kosh. The 5 sheaths. Each one is the cause of the previous one. And then we don't stop. We say, oh, these 4, 5 koshas, in that the life is coming, Then we say, from the space the air came, from the air the fire came, from the fire the water came, from the fire the earth came, from the earth the plants kingdom came, and so on it continues. What are we? Same way, the people always ask. The moment they ask you, you meet someone. Either you, Indian people always ask, what is that? What is your background? Which part of India you are from? Which school you went to? Which college you went to? How much you have studied? What diseases you have? They are experts at collecting data. Who are your parents? Who are your children? Do you have any grandchildren? And basically, and they don't stop here. When they come to sannyasis, they also ask the same question. भगवान, आप कौन सी परंपरा से हो? Which ashram do you? This is a typical question, which I find very difficult to answer nowadays for last 23, 24 years. Because I never identified with anything. Which parampara you are from, which ashram you are from. So, if I am from, just like from space, air, then what? Fire, then from fire the water, then from water the earth. So first Shankaracharya, then so many other masters came, and I am now there. You create a parampara. It is helpful initially, no doubt. But where we are right now, we do not allow ourselves to be limited by any parampara. Self is that which is self-existing. Self is not because I am a Swami Paramananda Saraswati. Oh, I belong to the Sringeri. By this name, immediately you can understand which lineage I come from. What is the lineage? I belong to the Sringeri Mutt. Sringeri Mutt, the Sureshwaracharya was there. Sureshwaracharya was defeated by Shankaracharya in a debate when he was Mandan Mishra. what do I have to do with all that? Am I here to collect data about my lineage, or am I here to come to know my essential nature? How many ancestors do you know of yours? Maybe two, maybe three, that's all. What about before? But we get lost in this parampara. Why? Because we are taken the body to be real. Taking body to be real is incomplete knowledge. This is complete knowledge. We are self-existing. So here our inquiry, as this Upanishad is beckoning us, it is slowly taking us to a point where all paramparas, all lineages, all ancestry, all supports are being taken away, and we are coming to recognize that we are the support of all. We are pervading the all. There is nothing outside of me, outside the self. See how wonderful? Otherwise, satsang becomes a parampara. Satsang becomes that every Wednesday we have to listen to the Swamiji's satsang. Every Sunday morning we have to listen to the satsang. It becomes a parampara, and it is beneficial, no doubt. But you don't break it. You get established. And when you get established, whether satsang is or not, it does not matter after that. Because you are continuously in satsang with yourself when you are established in the self-existing principle as I, as the Atma. And that is the holier than the holiest. There is separation. If you are taking these words and applying it on yourself, then it is healthy. But if we are just hearing the words, enchanted, feeling blessed, feeling emotional, experiencing the joy of listening to satsang, then that goal which we have to reach is still further away. It's further away in the sense we have not reached it yet. We are still in the world. We are still in the conditionings. So, continuing. Now, the second part of the Swayambhu, Yatha Tatha Torthan Vedada Chashvatibhyah Samabhyah. This part is being taken, and it says, स नित्य युक्त ईश्वरः यथा तथ्यतः सर्वज्ञत्वाद् यथा तथा भावः यथा तथ्यं तस्माद् यथा भूत कर्म फल साधनतः अर्थान् कर्तव्य पदार्थान् व्यददाधि विहितवान् यथानुरूपं व्यभजद इति अर्थः. So what does he say here? Now here he is talking about yatha tatha. What is this yatha tatha? Yatha tatha is otherness, thisness and thatness. Let's put it this way. Thisness and thatness. So this should be done, that should be done, how it should be done, when it should be done, what is the right way, what is not the right way. This is all we are lost in, no? Individual is lost in this only. How should we bring our kids up? How should we not bring our kids up? We are continuously assessing this. Here also, how should we listen to satsang? How should we not listen to satsang? How should we speak in satsang? How should we not speak in satsang? This is satsang. Talking about the world, that is not satsang. And it goes on. See? Yatha tatha. So here it says that Sarvajñatvad yatha tatha bhavaha. That this Atma, being of the nature of all pervasiveness, being of the nature of all knowingness, Sarvajña, of all knowingness, and therefore here it says that it is because Sarvajña means that it is because it is knowing the self, and self being sarvavyapi, self being all pervasive homogeneously, therefore it is all knowing, just like water knows all the waves and oceans. Does it keep thinking about every ocean and every wave? No. Yet it knows everything. How? Because they are not other than it. Exactly the same way, this Atma also, Sarvajña, it knows everything. It is the knower of everything. So this Jiva, according to तस्माद् यथा भूत कर्म फल साधनतः अर्थान कर्तव्य पदार्थान. So what is told here is that this jiva, according to the karma he has done, the Ishvara, the infinite reality, here it is used the Ishvara, it determines what results he is going to get. So and what experience he needs to are required for him, and what is the purpose of meting out the what you call meting out what is required for the jiva, for the evolution of jiva. What is the purpose of every wave? What is the purpose of life of every wave? Only to become, to be water, isn't it? Whether it accepts it doesn't accept, but it wants to be water. It has to be water. So what is yours and mine if we are seekers? I hope we are seekers. What is our purpose? It is to be the immaculate self, the reality. So this reality, this Ishvara, this Atma, if Atma is not other than Ishvara, you can take it that way. This Ishvara, it metes out the required doses for this Jivatma, for his or her. We are not talking about male or female. Jivatma is not male or female. Body can be male or female. To this Jivatma, so that it can evolve and recognize that he is that immaculate self. He is that reality. See? And for this, it determines what the jiva should do or should not do. We have got the samskars, we have got the scriptures, we have got the various things that you should not do this, you should not speak like this, you should not. All those things are told no. Then who is checking whether you are doing the right thing or not? Because you will say, oh, my truth. Many people say it is my truth. What your truth? Truth is only one. There is not one truth per person. Then who is going to determine whether you are doing the right or how to push you, how to tickle you, how to put the dose, how to make you dance like a monkey, so that you come to recognize that you are of the one without a second nature. That is, all those do's and don'ts are given by various Prajapatis, gods, etc. And where are all the gods and Prajapatis? They are within. And they are without. They are principles. Gravity is within also, without also, isn't it? Water is within the wave and it is outside the wave also. The gold is within the ornament and outside the ornament also. Exactly the same way. So, for these do's and don'ts are given to various demigods, Prajapatis, and then they carry it, they who carry the thing forward, and it is that Ishvara, if we have understood properly, then it is the Ishvara alone who is responsible for giving the Dharma Shastra to the individual. Because what are the scriptures? They are the words of the Lord, the words of the reality. See? And for us, if you take Ishvara as Ishwar, then Ishwar is Nirgun Nirakar, it is Nirgun Sakar, Sagun Nirakar, and it is Sagun Sakar. 3 ways. How does it matter? Let it be. Let them follow their path. But he is the ultimate. Whatever a wave is going through its life, from the time of birth to death and after that, appearance, disappearance, and in between appearance and disappearance, can the rules of engagement come from outside, or it will come from the essence only? It will come from essence only, isn't it? That essence, you are saying, oh, the matter, the giver of all the do's and don'ts, how the wave must behave and must not behave, is given by the Lord, the ocean. Okay, so fine. Let it be. So here it is told that if one is, here it says, इति अर्थः शाश्वतीभ्यो नित्याभ्यः समाभ्यः संवत्सराख्येभ्यः प्रजापतिभ्यः इति अर्थः. As I said, he gave this knowledge to all the Prajapatis and the gods, etc., who, so instead of taking all responsibility, he distributed, outsourced everything to all his gods or Prajapatis. That you write, you write down the Dharma Shastra. Dharma Shastra is not for Ishvara. Dharma Shastra is for the one who has incomplete knowledge. Dharma Shastra is for even all the gods. They have to live according to Dharma only. And whenever they fall from Dharma, then they have to do the penance. There is a Maryada. There is a decorum which even Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh have to follow. They cannot function outside their jurisdiction. Sun cannot say, today I want to be cool, man, enough of, I'm very hot, I'm sweating. No, he can't. They have to function in their jurisdiction. This is what the Prajapatis decided. And therefore, if we have to live, if we have to live life, let's live life according to Dharma. Let's live life according to Guru Vakya. Guru Vakya, Bhagavad Gita is Guru Vakya. Amrit Anubhav is Guru Vakya. Jnaneshwari is Guru Vakya. These are all realized Master. Shankaracharya Bhashya is Guru Vakya. Whose commentary you will who you will follow? A stupid fool like me, uncooked, or you will follow a person who is established in the truth and is giving Shrotriya Brahmanishta. We can make mistakes, but Shankaracharya cannot commit mistakes because he is established in his essential nature. Jnaneshwar Maharaj cannot commit mistake because he is established in his essential nature. So also there is the Gondavlekar Maharaj, there is the what you call Namdev Maharaj, there is Ramakrishna Paramhans, there is Ramana Maharishi, there is Neem Karoli Baba, there is Anand Mahima, there is Ammachi. These are all masters established in the truth. Whether they have studied the scriptures like we are studying or not, it does not matter. Jnaneshwar Maharaj never studied the scriptures, yet he knew everything, no? So all his brothers and sisters. So we must, because Ishvara alone has given, or the Atma alone is, in the presence of Atma alone, the Ishwar alone is giving all these do's and don'ts and telling the Prajapatis to pen them down or put them down. That alone is coming as scriptures to us. And therefore, we must surrender to the Lord and live a life of dharma, live a life of satsang, live a life of continuous self-awareness, not world awareness, self-awareness, while living in this world. That will be the true dharma. But again, when we think of dharma, we again get lost somewhere or the other. Continuing. Now, a beautiful, there is no verse now. The next part is the comparison between the path of knowledge and the path of action. And it has taken all the verses that we had done till now, we have seen till now in this Upanishad, 7 of them or 8 of them, and how, what is the sequence and how the wise ones or those who are committed to the truth and those who are committed to action, that difference is being brought out so we understand. What do we understand? In short, that those who are committed to the truth, to the exclusion of the world, they alone can come to know the reality and get established in the reality, get established in the self. But those who are committed to the world, those who are thinking about the world, those who are desiring the world, will necessarily follow the path of karma. And karma's job, we'll see what Shankaracharya says, but karma does one thing. What is that? Purification, if done properly. And karma, prerequisite for karma is what? Kartrutva abhiman. There is a doer. And who are you essentially? Paramatma, of the nature of Paramatma, of pristine self. And who are we imagining? That we are the doer. And why we are imagining ourselves as the doer? Because we have got identified with something, that this body I am, that this world is real. Now, these two distinct paths will be talked about. There is no verse here, but it's a indulgence in logic and understanding and assessing the previous verses. Hmm? हो गया टाइम ऑलरेडी यार 8:50. No point starting it then. We'll look at it in our next class. It will take शुरू करके कोई मतलब ही नहीं है. So remember the first verse which we started, ईशावास्यमिदगं सर्वं यत्किंचित् जगत्यां जगत् तेन त्यक्तेन भुञ्जिताः मागृध कस्य सिद्धनम्. The first verse itself was Jnana Marg. And immediately thereafter, the next verse was given, and the next verse was the Karma Marg. What about those people who are not able to see Ishavasya Sarvam? Those who do not have that vision, those who are unable to see the pervasiveness of that self or the Ishvara. Then what about them? Are they condemned? No. कुर्वन्नेवेह कर्माणि जिजीविषेत् शतगं समाः एवं त्वयि नान्यथेतोऽस्ति न कर्म लिप्यते नरे. Then then if you have to act, if you are addicted to karma, if you are unable to withdraw त्यागे नैके अमृतत्व मानसु, if you are not able to renounce the world, you are unable to renounce your duties, you are unable to renounce your body, breath, mind, intellect, you are unable to renounce your thoughts. But we have a big problem, our understanding of renunciation means chitta vritti nirodha iti yoga. Renunciation means non-expression of that thing. No. Renunciation from duties does not mean non-performance of duties. No. Renunciation means the doer is absent and act continues to happen. Many times you don't see, your eyes are open, but you're not looking, but eyes are open. So where are you? In a gaga land. Where are you then? You are thinking of some imaginary situation or thinking of some solution to some problem, but at that moment your eyes are open and people are seeing you. What happened to this fellow? Where are you lost? Eyes are open. So kurvanneveha karmani, for this karma yogi, for this person who has kartrutva abhiman, he was told, we'll look into it more in detail. So that was the karma marg, and so on. Each verse will be addressed more or less. I think till 4th or the 5th verse they will cover it, because Atma Nirupan we don't need to say anything. And then Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Just sit quietly for a few minutes. Hari Om, everybody.
Thank you.